Okay, so we're going to graph an equation by plotting points. It's fairly straightforward. Hopefully it's something you've done before, but if not, here you go. I'm going to pick an equation that's maybe not normal, not what you're used to seeing. But so I'm going to say, what if y equals the absolute value of x minus 2? You know, you may or may not know how to graph absolute values. So let's say you don't know how to graph those. You've never seen them before in your life. With any equation where you have y and x, it's very easy to just make a table of values and just pick points. If this is the first time you've ever worked with this function, and how I pick my table, I mean, there's lots of ways to do it, but if you want to show some work, this is a good way to do it. And it's just like guess and check. You're just going to guess and check some answers or some x's and see what the y ends up being. So let's just, and you want to pick some positives, some negatives, just a little bit of everything to see if you get it all. So I'm just going to start, and I'm going to go in order, so it's always nice to see if you get a pattern. And I'm going to start with -5 and work my way to +5. Sometimes this doesn't work. Sometimes -5 to +5 does not give you a consistent graph or something that shows everything you need to show. But in this case, it will. I know what I'm doing, believe it or not. And then 0, 1. I'm not going to go clear to 5. 1, 2. We'll be able to get the picture pretty quick. And then there's 3. Maybe we'll go a little further. Let's see what happens. So what you're doing then is you're just plugging in the value -5, we'll start with that, into the function and see what you get. So y equals the absolute value of -5 minus 2. Now from here I do a lot of it in my head. So the absolute value of -5 minus 2 is equal to the absolute value of -7, which would be +7. Okay, then you plug in -4 and do the same thing. And I'm going to drop off the y equals. So -4 minus 2 is -6. So that's the absolute value of -6, which is +6. Okay, and then just keep going. Absolute value of -3 minus 2 is -5. So that's the absolute value of -5, which is 5. And so on. And just keep kind of working your way down. So -2 minus 2. Kind of see a pattern here. -4. And that's 4. And it looks like it's going 7, 6, 5, 4. So, here's where you got to do some logical thinking. Don't go about this, and not think about what's happening. So that'd be -3, and that's 3. So maybe the next one's 2, and then 1, and then 0. Okay, because of the properties of absolute value, you want to be careful because here, you might think the next one's -1. Well, 3 minus 2, remember it's absolute value. It is 1, but the absolute value of 1 is 1. So now it's going back up. So 4, I guess we are going to have to go to a few more. So now we got 4 minus 2, which is 2. And then, again, this one keeps going on and on. So 4, 5, 5 minus 2 is 3. Absolute value makes it positive, keeps it positive. And so there we have our table from -5 to +5. And so what you can do next is graph that. And let's see if I can pull up a graph really fast. Oh yeah, yeah, that one will work. Doesn't have everything we need, but it should work. Might have to drag it around a little bit here. All right, so there we go. This graph goes by ones. Here's your x-axis, here's your y-axis. It only goes to 4 and left 4 and down 4 and up 4. So we'll just graph the 4s. And so we'll start at -3 and graph 5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It just goes one above. So there's negative 3, 5. Then negative 2, 4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 1, 3. 0, 2. Okay, we'll keep going here. 0 was 2, then 1 was 1, and 2 was 0. 1 was 1, 2 was 0. And then after that it goes 3, 1, so it goes back up. And then 2, and then it actually keeps going like this. So here's what your equation looks like for absolute value. This is y equals the absolute value of x minus 2. And all right, and so that's just how you make a table. You know, guess and check. Sometimes you might have to pick points, and it'll take you all day. If you get bored of it, there is this fancy program called GeoGebra, which is kind of nice. Let me shrink it up here maybe a little bit. I apologize if my voice disappears. We'll make it kind of small. And so I got some other points in there. We'll hide those, get rid of them. We don't need them. But in this particular program, you can just actually plug in the formula. So y equals, and then ABS stands for absolute value, and then x minus 2, and close your parenthesis. And there it is. And so that kind of gives you the same graph we have. I'm going to zoom in a little so that we can get something very similar. There we go. Maybe X this out. And now we're getting something that looks very, very familiar. So there we go. And you can zoom in a little bit. That just a good way to check your answer and see how it works. And there's lots and lots of different functions. So this is just one of many millions. So use a table when it says the graph. If you know, I got through a calculus test one time because I totally went blank. The only thing I remembered was how to graph using a table, and I aced the test. So you know, don't underestimate the power of guessing and checking. That is a beautiful skill to acquire. So best of luck and see you next time.